Using Microsoft Word, Contents and Tables. Here's your first step. On the Home tab of the ribbon, locate this symbol, which is the Show Hide, and left click. There it goes. And what it does, it shows the markers on the page for various tools. So we have paragraph markers, we have these dots representing spaces amongst the words, and we have section breaks. And when you want to not see them again, still on the Home tab of the ribbon, left click, Show Hide. Page breaks are indicated with the word page break and a single line on either side of that word, and you can see these when you use the Show Hide marker from the Home tab of the ribbon. To create a page break, wherever your insertion point, your cursor, is placed on the page is where that page break is going to occur. You can simply press Ctrl and Return on your keyboard, or from the Page Layout tab on the ribbon, select Breaks, select Page Break. If I press on Home and show you the Show Hide, there's our first page break, and there's our second. You don't need this on in order to create them. However, if you press Ctrl and Return while they're visible, you can see the page break that you created. The section break is indicated by a double dotted line and the words section break, and you can see this by switching on the Show Hide on the Home tab of the ribbon. In this instance, a continuous section break has been inserted in the page so that the top half appears as a standard paragraph format, whereas the later part of this page is split into two columns. To insert a section break, it's useful to have the Show Hide markers visible on your page so that you can see where the page break currently ends your page. So I'm just going to press Return and Delete to remove this current page break. So at this point where my cursor, my insertion point, is flashing, at this paragraph marker is where I'm going to separate chapter 10 from chapter 11. I'm going to end the section at this point. On the Page Layout tab of the ribbon, seek Breaks, left click. The section breaks are in the lower half, and it's the next page section break that is the most useful. When I left click here, it will create a section break between the end of chapter 10 and the beginning of chapter 11, splitting them into two sections as well as into two pages. A continuous section break is when you wish to have a section start on the same page, much as I did in the previous example showing columns on the page. So to insert the next page section break, just left click that text. So here you can see the section break, it's just to the right here. At the point where my insertion was on the page, at the end of that paragraph marker, it has now inserted a section break, next page, so that our section begins here with chapter 11. And this is more clearly indicated if we open the header footer tool. So I'm just going to double click on the page number here There we go. So I'm currently in section 4 in the footer and header of section 5. So that section break we inserted using the page layout tab of the ribbon and breaks and section break. With the section break we can change the orientation of our page. So this is the page we just created a section break on. We did a next page section break between the chapters at page 11, and on the page layout tab under orientation I'm going to now choose landscape. Now nothing seems to have changed, but I'm just going to reduce the size of the pages here, and you can see that they are now landscaped in this section, whereas in the section afterwards they remain in portrait. And when I wish to undo that change, under orientation, click portrait again. So let's show you another way that this tool is of more use. I'm going to try and get us back to page, here we go, here's page 11 where we already have one section break. Here it is at the end. So what I'm going to do is on page 10 where I already have a page break, I'm going to delete that and replace it with another next page section break. So I have a section break across here. It's the actual words are behind this text box. We can ignore that. It'll make no difference to our page. So now page 11 is isolated between two section breaks. It is a section on its own. And once again we can indicate that more clearly if we have a look at the header footer tools. We can see that we are in the footer of section 4, header of section 5, footer of section 5, header of section 6. So page 11 is a section all to itself, which allows us to turn just this one page. Now this is particularly useful if you're presenting tables of data in a document. You can then go into page layout, page layout orientation and landscape, and again I'm going to reduce the size of that page to make it more obvious. Now it has at the moment changed the orient because it created a new page simply because the text I had on page 11 now spills over into a second page, page 12, because the text wouldn't fit into the previous orientation from between portrait and landscape has changed. But that section is now landscaped, while on either side of it the remaining document remains in a portrait orientation. So that is another major use of the section break tool. When you wish to remove sectional page breaks, it's always easier when you're able to see them. So for the Home tab of the ribbon, once again activate that Show Hide tool to illustrate your section and page breaks. Here's a section break, double dotted line. My insertion point or cursor is flashing at the beginning of that line already, and you can click to place your cursor there if it isn't, and then simply press the delete button on your keyboard to remove that section break. Page breaks are exactly the same. Place your cursor or insertion point at the beginning of the page break line and press delete on your keyboard. In this way you can simply and easily remove page breaks and section breaks. An item connected to section breaks sometimes is page numbers. Certainly they affect each other in different ways. To insert a page number in your document, on the Insert tab of the ribbon you have Page Number, just scrolling to the right here because some of our menu is going to disappear, and left click page number to show you where you want to place your page number and some other options. We're going to have a look at a page number at the bottom of the page. That's gone off the screen again. Page number at the bottom of the page in the center. Just left click. You will see that that page number has been inserted within the header and footer options. And if we scroll through the different pages, you will see that those page numbers continue throughout our document. Once you have inserted your page numbers, you'll probably want to change their formatting at some point during the creation of a longer document. On the Insert tab of the ribbon, from the Page Number tools, select Format Page Numbers. Here's my pop-up. I can change my number formatting 1, 2, 3 with a little line. There it is. I can choose an alphabetic in lowercase, an alphabetic in uppercase, and a Roman numeral style. Remember that in Roman numerals there is no 0. You will not have a page 0 on your document. And I'll talk about why we'd want that shortly. So change the set of appearance of your values, your numbers. Continue from previous section means that I have continuing page numbering. So the previous page will be 10. And there it is. However, you can also have this page number start at 1. Remember, page 11 is a new section all of its own. So this section could be section 1, page 1 of a new section. So there's 1, 10 previously, and if we continue to the next, are 2 for our 2 pages in section, I believe it was section 4 we had, for what was previously page 11. So to change that back, page number, format page numbers, continue from previous, and apply. That's gone back to 11. If you double click on the page numbers, you'll open your header and footer. Try and get rid of this smart link icon there. There we go. The header and footer icon for your tab of the ribbon. We're in the Design tab for header and footers, and you can see that we're currently, if I enlarge that, linked to the previous section. So it goes from page 10 to page 11, because although this is a separate section, it's linked to previous, and we can switch that off and reformat the page number to have that as a separate numbered section. So let's look at that option again. With my number selected, I've opened the Header and Footer Tools ribbon in the Design tab, and we currently have that as linked to the header and footer of the previous section. So it's going from 10 to 11 to 12 and 13, with each of those numbers sharing the same formatting and a continuous value. If we switch the link to previous section off, we can now format this page number differently. Okay, so I'm just going to select the Format Page Number tool, and just to show the difference, I'm going to use an alphabetic page numbering for this section, and we're going to start at G and press OK. So what was page 11 is now page G, but previously we have 10, and the following page is H, which should continue to 9. Now it's 9 rather than 11 because the footer of section 6, okay, we're currently in section 6. Section 6 needs to be linked to the previous section. And also have its page number formatting to be set to page 11. So we will now have page 10 in section 4. In section 5, which are landscape orientated, we have pages G and H. In section 6, we are returning to a numbered format and continuing at page 11. On your document, you may have a cover page, and you're unlikely to want a page number, or in fact, these header and footer texts in your cover page. So this is how you remove them. The first thing you want to do is open the header and footer toolbar. Double click on your page number or in one of your footers in order to open that header and footer design toolbar. Now the very easy thing to do here is simply click different first page. So left click that checkbox and you'll see that the header text is removed and the page number has now vanished. Your next page in the document has a page number and that header text, but you've removed it from your cover page. That different first page tool will work for each section in your document. So if every section needs a title page, for example, you can use that different first page to switch off the numbering and header footer text in the first page for each section in your document. Let's have a look at that numbering briefly then. So on page 2, it's numbered 2, but remember this is inside your document, not on the cover. So this should start as page 1, even if it's in Roman numerals. Double click to highlight, open the page number, format page numbers tool, start numbering at 0, which of course there is no 0 in Roman numerals, so it's blank in this instance, but press OK. Your cover page is now page 0, which has no number, and your first numbers page should have started as page 1. Well, there's that issue about Roman numerals having no 0 in them. Let's format the page numbers again. I just want to illustrate this difference, so I'm going to switch it to 1, 2, 3. Start numbering at page 0 and press OK. We now have our cover page with no numbers on it, but that is effectively page 0. And our first inside page is now numbered 1. So watch out for those Roman numerals. They can even trip you up while you believe that you're inserting that 0 page. It just simply won't exist under the Roman numeral system. So that is how we remove numbers and headers and footers from first pages with the different first page tick on the design tab of the header and footer ribbon. Don't forget to save your document. So on the File tab of the menu, select Save As. Find the source of the file, so your current folder, or choose somewhere else you want to save the file to. Add or change the name, especially if you're having a longer document, you will want multiple versions. Or separate them by the date. And then, it's off my screen, bear with me a moment. Simply press, oh, there it's gone again. Simply press the Save key to save the file.